What's up, guys? I'm Jose, and today we're going to discuss Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1 spoiler talk. You guys have been warned. I'm super excited to talk about this. I really am. Waited almost 2 years for this. I mean, the last season aired 2017, so I'm just going to say 2 years for this. So we waited 2 long years for this final season, 6 episodes. My God. My hype was all over the place. I left work like immediately on the moment my shift was over. Peace. I still had orders on the board, and I was like, nope, I'm out of here. Told one of the chefs, I'm like, I gotta go. I got things to do, and walked out. Not like that, but you know. I do not know how to play this trick. Okay, so that being said, you guys have been warned. Where do we start? Okay, hold on. I wrote down some notes to guide me because I'm trying to get better at I'm trying to get a lot better at. There I go again. I'm trying to get a lot better at not like stopping, not like talking super fast, but constant, but being able to keep the conversation going with my hypothetical viewers. But all right, here are my notes. All right, let's go. The intro. Let's start off with the intro. Holy crap. That new intro that we got, and we get a new intro every year or every season. Oh, two Orissas? Oh, this is cool. I'm just gonna die so that I can be somebody that can help them push, hopefully. All right, so the intro is cool. I still have to yet to look up videos on somebody actually doing the explanation on the rings, because the symbols on the rings change, right? On that like Dyson sphere thing, as like it says Game of Thrones, and it was dun, 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 and they're like all these rings spinning. Something changed. Something is different there. So I'm gonna look that up, but that was cool. And then we get to see Last Hearth. I believe that's where that little kid was from. The little kid that we see later. That turns into a White Walker. The only White Walker we actually see this episode. So we see Last Heart, and if you pay attention, all the tiles are like turning a white color, like they're not, or a blue color. I'm not exactly sure if they're. It's like supposed to resemble the path of the White Walkers, right? And so we get to see that. Oh, this guy has a grenade launcher? I don't know. I haven't played this guy before. So we get to see that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And what I found interesting, we go into Winterfell, we go into King's Landing in that little intro, like as the buildings are forming and whatnot. I thought it was very, very interesting that we got to see Valerian the Dread's skull, like right before it rises up to the Iron Throne. In King's Landing, it goes into the depths of King's Landing, where we saw Valerian the Dread's skull, and then last season, and we actually saw that in the intro, and I'm like, well, why is Valerian the Dread skull being shown? Maybe it's not important, maybe it's just fan service, but. And for those of you who don't know, Valerian the Dread was Aegon Targaryen's dragon, the largest dragon Westeros had ever seen. He came over from I forgot the name. The point is, he was the Targaryen that conquered the Seven Kingdoms and unified them and forged the Iron Throne. That's the dragon that forged it. That was that skull that you see in the new intro right before it starts. So I thought that was pretty damn cool to see Valerian the Dread's skull. Oh, I got sniped. And then, so they open with that shot, and I thought that opening shot was so cool. We see the army, and there had been reports, or I heard from somebody, or read somewhere, or listened somewhere, or watched somewhere, that that episode one was gonna mirror a lot with episode one. Okay, so season 8, episode one was gonna mirror a lot with episode one of season one. So we got to see like instead of Daenerys, instead of Robert Baratheon arriving with Jaime when we first met Jaime and Tyrion and Cersei and everybody else, it's Dany arriving at Winterfell and the armies are marching by. And I thought that was cool because it's not the only similarity between the two seasons, and I'll point them out later, in case you guys missed them. But we have, so they're marching in and Daenerys and everybody's looking at Daenerys, and then you hear the screech of the dragons or their roar, their howl or whatever you want to call it. And the dragons fly by Winterfell. We get this great overshot of Winterfell, and I don't think we've ever seen a nice a nice aerial view of Winterfell like we did this in this opening shot. And I loved it. I thought it was fucking amazing. I love the overhead shot. We got to see the dragons flying by. We see the werewood tree. It was oh my god, I loved the intro to this episode. It just like showed us what it just started setting the groundwork, but more on that later. So Daenerys is like, okay, see, Daenerys tries to be nice with Sansa, right? Because you see Sansa look at the dragons like, oh, Arya has a smirk on her face. Oh, Arya sees the Hound. I thought that was pretty cool. So Arya sees the Hound. And then she sees Gendry, and she hasn't seen Gendry, I think, since season 2 or season 3 was the last time that she saw Gendry. And that's like her boo or whatever. Or at least it was like alluded to. What is this? Anyways, so Arya sees her boo. And this whole time I'm like, oh my god, Arya's gonna see Jon. Arya's gonna see Jon. And I can't wait for her to see him. Because we haven't seen... A lot of these characters have not been together since season 1. They've been all over the place, all over Westeros. And none of these I think very few of these characters have been together for a long time. But most of them have not been together since season 1. And so we see... So she sees Jon, and like he doesn't notice her or whatever, and I was like, damn, but the payoff later was great. So Daenerys is nice to Sansa, and Sansa doesn't seem expressed. She's like, Winterfell is yours, your grace, or whatever. Sansa starts with the sass. I'm hearing people online that saying that Daenerys was too sassy, but Sansa started it. Sansa could have been a lot more welcome. I don't know. I'm just saying. Then one of my next favorite parts in the episode was Arya and Jon finally reuniting by the werewood tree, right? He's like, how'd you sneak up on me like that? Oh my goodness. Again, Arya has not seen Jon since season 1. And he was the one that gave her needle, and he was like, stick him with the pointy end. I love how I just loved their reunion. I thought it was great, and I thought it was I thought it was like well acted. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I thought their reunion was... For a moment, I thought this whole thing right here, the little slushy with this, was a thing. I was like, what? That's cool, but anyways. Okay, sure. I'll take it. And then Overwatch. Cool. That was weird. Alright. So I thought that was their reunion was cool, and then he's like, "You still have it?" And then Needle, right? It's Needle. He's referring to. He's like, "Did you ever use it?" She's like, "Once or twice." Like, sure, just a little bit, just a bit. Hell nah. She's been slashing people's necks left and right. Which again, I love their reunion. Another reunion that I was hoping. I kind of got let down a little bit. I mean, it's still a cool reunion, but another reunion that I really liked was Sansa and Tyrion because they're still technically married, right? From what I know, they're still technically married, and I like how he's like, last time I saw you, you were running away, or she's like, sorry, I left so urgently last time we saw each other, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty hard to explain to everybody why your wife has left as soon as the king was murdered or whatever. I thought that was hilarious. I liked the reunion. I thought it was great. Um, I kind of wish. I mean, she wasn't cold, but I mean, she was just in this very serious mood, right? And he's like, "Oh, Cersei's coming," and she was like more along the lines of, "Oh, you believe her?" And he's like, "Oh, she has something to fight for," explaining that alluding to the fact she's preggers. But she's like, "I used to think you were the smartest man alive," and was like, "Damn, coming back with the sass today, Sansa. Damn, right?" So, and so I kind of wanted there to be a little more bittersweet reunion because he was really nice to her. Like, as awkward as it was and as young as she was, in the situation she was put in, he was real kind to Sansa, from what I remember, right? And so, sorry, I get distracted sometimes. I really need to get like a camera so I can record myself when I want to do like these reviews kind of things, so I can focus more on it. But sorry, then again, I'm sidetracking. Okay, let's go back to what we were talking about. So Arya, no, sorry, Tyrion and Sansa. I just kind of thought it would be more of a sweet, happier moment when they met, but I still like the reunion. Um, I don't like it as much as Arya and Jon, but that's okay. And that leads me into that scene that I've been wanting to see is Jon ride a dragon. I've been wanting to see Jon ride a dragon so damn much. I was like, oh, he's a Targaryen. When is he gonna get to ride a dragon? And I mean, we kind of knew if he was gonna ride a dragon, it was gonna be Rhaegal, because Rhaegal's named after Rhaegar, his father, and Viserion's the one that died. That's the one the Night King has. And so, pretty good ult. Um, so it's cool. I really like that line where he's like, he's afraid to get on Rhaegal, on the dragon, and he's like, "What if they don't like me?" And she's like, "Well, it was nice knowing you, Jon Snow," or something along those lines. I thought that was hilarious. I love that. Um, and they get on, and one of my old coworkers posted on Instagram, or was it on Facebook? I think it was on Instagram. He posted a picture. It doesn't matter. He posted an image of How to Train Your Dragon when the main characters with Flying Toothless with his like girlfriend or whatever, the chick, the love interest in that movie, and she's riding her dragon behind him. And he's like Game of Thrones, season 8, episode 1, and I thought that was hilarious. I keep getting this guy. Hmm. So what does this guy do? One. Oh. Um. I think you hit yourself with the grenades. I may be wrong. And they do the flying, and then they're about to smooch or whatnot. And I love that the dragons were watching, were watching him. I love how they were watching, and he's like turns around and look, and he's like, they're watching me, or whatever. I loved it because the dragons were just like, I'm like, that's my mom, and I don't know what the hell you're doing because you're about to get eaten. I just loved the expression. They were so detailed too. It was great. Like, oh my goodness. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, look, because for some reason HBO was acting up, and it like paused or whatever, right on the dragon's face, and I was like, look at the details. Like, you can see the scales, and I'm like, I'm not. And I told her, I was like, I'm not just talking about like the scales on the dragon's shoulders or whatever, the bigger ones. I'm talking about the individual scales you can see leading like around the eyes. I was like, that's, oh my god, I love the dragons in this show. They're so beautifully detailed. But I love that how he like opened his eyes and like looked behind him, and the dragons are just staring at him like, you better watch yourself because that's our mom. And that was one of my favorite parts of the show, of this episode. Did I have any other parts around that area that before I keep going? I don't know. No, I think that was it. Oh, the scene with Sam and what was the scene with Sam and Daenerys where Ser Jorah, he's like, oh, this is the man that saved me, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I would like to. I don't know what did he ask for her? Oh, to be pardoned, right? And he's like, oh, I stole my family sword, and he's like, my father wanted something else or whatever, and she's like, not Randall Tarley. He's like, yeah, and he's like, oh, well, your father didn't bend the knee, so I kind of had him turned into a fucking into a kind of. I roasted him. Sorry, I didn't know where I was going with that. He got roasted, and you know, you could see in his face, he was kind of like, oh, but at the same time, he's like, all right, my father was a dick, right? But then when she said, then when she brought up that his brother also stood with his father and died, that was kind of the the expression on Sam's face. Oh my goodness, poor guy, right? There was just so much emotion in his face, and I gave it to myself like a selfish bastard. Um, there was so much emotion in Sam's face. Honestly, there was the characters like the actors in this did such a spot on with their acting, and a lot of just pure like, you know how they say picture paints 1,000 words or says 1,000 words, something like that. With their facial expressions, like with their acting, there didn't even need to be any dialogue, right, on what they were thinking or whatever, right? And then so I guess he was mad, obviously, right? Sam was mad. And so he went and he like angrily told John, and then he was in the crypts of Winterfell, right? And that was crazy because, again, that mirrors season 1, episode 1, when Robert goes to see Lyanna Stark's tomb because, oh, I loved your sister, when he was talking to Ned and whatnot, right? Um, and then he tells John, and I honestly didn't think Sam would be the one. I mean, I knew Sam would be involved, but I thought it was gonna be more like a table discussion, like, oh, I need to talk to you, Sam, Bran, and John. But like, it was just Sam. And at first, I kind of didn't really like it, but the more I think about it, I like how, because one, Sam did it more out of anger, like, oh, hey, your aunt burned my family. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, You're fucking your aunt or whatever, right? I'm terrible with this character. Oh, Orisa. I can't believe I survived that. So then John knows his parentage and his, and he's like in denial, and he's like, no, it's not. I was almost expecting him for him to be like Luke and the Empire Strikes Back. He's like, no, that's impossible. But John finding out, I still think they did a pretty good job with telling John about it. But I liked how he was like, he's like, no, that's treason, and Sam's like, no, you're the one true king, and I don't know what. And so that was like, oh, what is he gonna tell Daenerys? Is he not gonna tell Daenerys? Because it goes back to this line from earlier when he's with Sansa, and she calls him out on it. She's like, did you bend the knee because you love her, or did you bend the knee to save the North? And would she do the same for you, right? Or I don't think she said would she do the same for you, but it's more of like that, like would she do the same for him now, when if Daenerys finds out that he is the one true heir to the throne because he is Rhaegar's son, and Rhaegar was the next in line to be king, so therefore Jon should be king, right? And I saw a lot of people online are like, oh, it was boring, where are the battles? We need build episodes, like the episode needs to build to something, right? Like the reason we were so invested in Battle of the Bastards was because there was so many of these episodes building and showing us why that gave us a reason to hate Ramsay Bolton with a passion, you know? But so I loved this episode. I thought it was great. I've already said that like 1,000 times. So I don't know. I really don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, then we get to that little kid that I called it. I told my girlfriend, I'm like, that kid's gonna die, and she's like, which kid? And I'm like, the kid that just spoke, the Ned Lumberd or Umbred or whatever, Unbird. I don't know, the little kid that turned into the White Walker, the only White Walker we see. I called it. I told my girlfriend, like, he's gonna die. She's like, why? And I'm like, because he's going back to his town, right? Because Daenerys is like, or Sansa's like, take the horses we can spare and bring as much as you can back, right? She's like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, because in the intro, Last Heart has already fallen. The White Walkers are already close. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this kid is gone. Like, so I kind of called it. I was like, yeah, I called it, son. So, but that scene where he's like, I forget the character from the Night's Watch, but he's like, look out, his eyes are blue. Tormund replies, Tormund. He replies, my eyes have always been blue. Oh my god, the comedic, the funny moments in this episode were like so well placed. I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't see the kid's eyes turning blue. I cannot believe I didn't I didn't anticipate it, right? My girlfriend then she's like, look at his eyes, look at his eyes. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, look. And then like because I was so invested in the conversation they were having, right? That I wasn't even like my vision was just on the characters, right? I can't believe I died there. My vision was just on the characters that I had like blurred out the background, and the kid's eyes turn blue, and like he screams, like, oh shit, right? That could have been the end of Tormund, right there. But I love that scene. I thought it was cool, and we only saw one White Walker, but we saw that they're already past them. Like, how did they miss them? Oh, but No, it's not that they missed him. It's that Tormund and then we're at Eastwatch by the sea, and then the guys from the we're at Castle Black, so that makes sense. So then I did like I thought the episode ended perfectly. And yes, I was like, no, give me more. Why? But it was a perfect ending to the episode, because just as season 1, episode 1 ended with Jamie pushing Bran out of the out of the tower window. Just like season 1 ended with Bran being pushed out of the window by Jamie. Literally, the last two people we see in season 1, episode 1 is Jamie and then Bran as Bran falls and becomes paralyzed. And in this episode, the last two people we see, the last is Jamie looking at Bran. Jamie gallops into Winterfell on his horse, takes off his cloak or his hood or whatever, looks over. He's like, and I'm just like, damn, who's he gonna see? Tyrion? I was like, oh, who's gonna run into him? Jon? I was like, Sansa? And I'm like, oh, I was like, he's not even gonna make, like, I mean, I know he lives because we saw in the trailers, like, when it's the Battle of Winterfell or whatever. But I was like, who's he gonna see first? And I did not even think of Bran. And Bran's just sitting there like, hey, homie, remember me? Like, holy shit. I can't believe I died. Actually, I can't. You know, Bran is just like, just waiting for him, right? And I didn't see it earlier. And when I was watching the live version of the John Campea show when they were doing their recap, I think it was him or his wife, or maybe their friend, where they're like, we didn't, you noticed how when Bran told Samuel, I'm waiting for a friend, he was talking about Jamie. Because Bran sees everything like the fucking weirdo that he is. No, I'm just kidding. Bran's cool. But, but, can I get her? Sorry, I got distracted. Can't believe I didn't kill that freaking rat. Anyways, again, this is just background footage, so you guys can like have this in the background while you guys listen to the stream, while you guys listen to the talk, the discussion, the spoiler talk. So I love that it ended the same way as season 1, episode 1 ended, and the look of guilt and horror on Jamie's face was priceless. There was so much emotion in Jamie's face, realizing that, oh my god, 1, you survived, 2, I'm sorry, I fucked up, this is all started because of this, because none of this would have happened if it wasn't for this. And I thought, holy crap, that's like, again, we haven't, okay, look, Jon has not been back on Winterfell since season 1. Sansa and Jon have not seen each other since season 1. Arya and Jon have not seen each other since season 1. Littlefinger and Jon have not seen each other since season 1. Jamie and Bran have not seen each other since season 1. A lot of the cast here is the same cast that was there in episode 1 of season 1. And I'm not even going to start another gameplay footage because I just want to keep talking about this. So much that I'm going to show you guys my my background on my thing. We'll keep it here while we're talking about the Starks. So I love this episode. I love that it built it up. I did mind a little bit that that it is shorter than the other episodes. Next episode is just like 5 minutes longer or something like that. Next episode, next week's season two, season 8, episode 2 is I think a couple minutes longer, and then the final four are all about an hour and a half long if I'm correct. And but like holy shit, like oh my goodness. It ended and I was like, no, give me more, but I thought it ended perfectly, right? And every time I open up a page, it does something else. You guys probably already know how to do this, but I thought this was just cool. Um, the Iron Throne itself. There's one more. What am I missing? That one's cool. Ooh, he looks like a wimp in this picture. But anyways, what else? I'm missing something. I know I want to mention something else. Daenerys delivering that sass back to Sansa when she's like, "What?" When Sansa's like, "What do dragons even eat?" And Daenerys looks at Sansa like, "Whatever they want, bitch." Oh my god, I fucking loved it. And some people online are saying, "No, she was being too mean or whatever." But I thought it was equally justified for because Sansa was not the most welcoming person when Daenerys arrived. But I think that's wrapping up all of my thoughts on the episode so far. Oh, Cersei and her elephants. I thought that was hilarious, and there's like memes going around like I really wanted those elephants. I thought that was hilarious. Can't stand Euron. I like how that Theon got headbutted because I still think Theon needs to die miserably for betraying the Starks. I don't care if he's like turning around or has come around. I just don't like Theon. Euron. Oh, we got to see the Golden Company, and I was explaining to my girlfriend. I was like, the Golden Company. And she's like, who are these guys? And she watches the show, right? But I tend to watch YouTube videos explaining everything and stuff because I'm not much of a reader. But anyways, so I'm like, the Golden Company are made from expelled Targaryen bastards. And I'm like, that would be so cool when they learn that they're fighting a Targaryen. And maybe there are some there, maybe there's not enough for any of that stuff because it's only a 6 episode season. But anyways, regardless of that, we got to see Cersei and the Golden Company. But next week's episode, if you guys stayed around for like the clips for next week, I'm 100% sure the next week's episode is just gonna end as the White Walkers arrive. I think that's exactly where it's gonna end because they have said that season 8, episode 3 is the biggest battle they've ever done, and it's gonna be called the Battle of Winterfell. So, um, next week's episode, episode 2, will end right as the White Walkers arrive. I just think that's gonna happen. I don't know if Daenerys is gonna learn of Jon's lineage, where she should have gotten a hint when Rhaegal let him ride him, but whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited, and I know that next week's episode is just gonna end on the massive cliffhanger into the week that follows. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know, but let me know what you guys thought about the episode. If you guys are like Game of Thrones, if you guys saw it, let me know what's going through your minds, your theories, your expectations for next week, and we can have a discussion about it. Because the reason I started this YouTube channel was because I like to talk about TV and movies, and I just I just want to have people to discuss this with. And if you guys watch Game of Thrones and you guys want to talk about it and whatever your thoughts are, write down in the comment section and I will get back to you guys. Once again, I'm Jose and I'll see you guys later. Have a nice day.